My name's Corey, General Manager for Kurzweil Education. The topic Sam Marquez is going to be presenting today is going to be on English language learners. One of my first experiences at Kurzweil, I came from an education background. I was a principal for 10 years and a teacher for 10 years. It was Bethel University sent me a study that they had done, 20 students that were English language students, and they were Chinese students in particular. Anecdotal spreadsheet that the disability coordinator had sent me. What really got my attention is that every single student said the amount of content they were able to consume using Kurzweil versus without Kurzweil was just a grand slam. If I had any doubts about this new position I was in, that really alleviated any of those fears, because all of the students said they were able to become nursing students kind of easily, but now they have to read so much more content. Kurzweil just allowed them to access the content so much more quickly. And there was not 100%. So we thought at Kurzweil, this would be a good reminder that Kurzweil is a very good accessibility tool for students, whether they have disabilities or not, that are English language learners. And Sam Marquez, I don't know if he'll talk much about his story, but he came at 18 years old to the United States and had to learn English, and often talks about how a tool like Kurzweil would have been very helpful for him. Anyway, so Sam.
Thank you, Corey. Corey, you stole my thunder right there. Anyway, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sam Marquez. I have the privilege to present today, so I'm excited. I take this topic very personal. It's a very personal topic for me because, like Corey, you said, I am an ELL student myself. I am still learning. I mean, is there a day in my life that I don't find a new word, a new phrase, a new meaning that I find, as I go through content and experiences professionally and personally? I will tell you, many of the things I'll be sharing today are not only about the technicalities of our translating feature, but also about the human aspect that takes place in the mind of and the thought process of a student that it happens to be an ELL student. When you are acquiring knowledge in a second language, is a very, very interesting experience that you go through. A lot of it has to do with common sense. So Corey shares part of my story. Yes, I was 18 years old when I first came to the States. I was an ESL student. I was going to school at night, trying to acquire the language. And then I started going through more content and more knowledge being gained by reading. And I remember how frustrating it was for me to having a flow, getting some momentum, and then getting stuck with one specific word, one specific phrase, and the whole learning process would get derailed. I would turn around, I would get my dictionary, I would ask somebody, and then I would take turns. I would ask person number one, person number two, person number three, and when I ran out of people, I would go back to person number one, because it was so embarrassing to keep asking and asking to the point that it got annoying. At least that's what I thought for people around me. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that I totally relate to some of your students in your classrooms. Being an ELL student is a big challenge, but it's very silent. People will not raise their hand. Very discreetly, we find a solution to keep moving forward with the content. Okay, so that is my story. Let's go over some of the technicalities, and then we're going to keep talking about the human aspect of the experience of being an ELL student. For all of you who have experienced Kurzweil before, hopefully you know we offer an ecosystem, and that's to 3 different platforms, 3 different options to access our technology. We have our Read the Web extension. We have the translating capabilities there. Then we have our web-based platform, which is a portal for students to access content and store content in their account. And then number 3 is our install version, the standalone. If you don't have a web license, then you have a standalone. So we want to visit each one of them quickly. Feel free to ask questions through the chat. My team members are going to share with me any question that might come up during this process. This is NASA. Can everybody see my screen? I love NASA.
Looks good.
It's full of content, very cool stuff. Students love it in all ages. Very, very cool stuff. I had already activated my extension, my Read the Web extension, where I have my controls. At this point, you can have the reader reading content for me. That's pretty much where the magic happens. So I'll go ahead and find out a topic that I'm not very familiar with, maybe a word that it did not resonate at the time. So I have the ability to translate right here. If I go to this button right here, it will translate. By default, it will translate one specific word. I have 134 different languages I can translate this to. And the first 12 are actually speech supported. It will not only translate, it will actually read it for me in that specific language. I think this is a very good point for me to make sure that we see the difference between our tool and most of the tools out there. Most tools will translate word by word. And one of the features that Kurzweil provides is the ability to highlight content and actually translate the entire paragraph. So it already extracted all of that piece of content that I selected. I have the languages that I need to translate this to, and I want to pick Spanish. It will read it for me, and that makes a big, big difference.
Bautizado en honor al astrónomo pionero Edwin Hubble, el telescopio espacial Hubble es un
Notice that I set a very slow speed on the reader because I would highly recommend for you to use that. You have the capability of customizing the experience. I make it fast, I make it faster or slower. Because when you're translating, you might want to experience that. You might want to go slow just to make sure that you're getting a good grasp of the content. One thing that I will tell you is the human mind, if you think about it, we don't think in words. We think in ideas, in concepts. So it's very, very crucial for you to create context for the student. So if you translate only one word, that might help you a little bit. But the idea is for you to read the entire line and making sure you're getting a good grasp and good understanding of the content. So that's what we do. And that was differentiates our translating tool to some of the other options out there. So again, your ability to translate, and this is only through the Read the Web extension. You can actually do that with the other platforms too. Again, you just click on the translated button. 134 languages you can translate this to. Let's say you want to translate this to Italian. Boom, that's a translation of Italian to Italian, from English to Italian. I would like to mention about some of the things that are important to understand about our technology. And for that, I will tell you right now what our translating feature is not. This is not a tool to learn a second language. This is not a tool because you want to learn French or Spanish or whatever. This tool assists all of those students who are actually gaining knowledge in English. Remember, we are in the States. We are expected to learn in the English language. So it's more oriented and designed for somebody to access English. You get stuck in one specific word or phrase. You get the translator instantly without derailing the process. Get that done and then go back to your learning process to reading English again. So this is not necessarily a tool for you to learn a second language. It might help, but it's not designed for that. Another thing that this translating feature is that this is not Google Translate. We do use some of that technology, but it has been enhanced and improved to the point that we provide very good quality. I always tell teachers when I meet with them, if you are not using a good quality translator, do not use it. You will get the student even more confused. So I'm very proud to say our technology has been enhanced to the point that it offers very good quality. Do we have any bilingual or multilingual people in the audience? I'm pretty sure we do. I like for you to experience the quality. I want you to experience the quality of the translation, the speed, the intonation, and all that. Any languages you want me to try here? Anybody? You can do that in the chat and let me know which areas you like to visit.
Hi, Sam.
Yeah.
We have someone commented Farsi and German. I hope I pronounced the first one.
Right.
Farsi and German.
Let's do German. I'll go back and select German, which is a third language listed. And I'm going to have, remember, German is one of those first 12 languages that is actually speech supported. It can actually read to you in that language. So here we go, German.
Das zu Ehren des bahnbrechenden Astronomen Edwin Hubble benannte Hubble-Weltraumteleskop ist ein großes.
Let me pause that and let me get a little bit slower. Remember, that's very important to know that you have the ability to slow down the reader in order to have that content being read.
Großes weltraumgestütztes Observatorium, das seit seinem Start und Einsatz durch die Raumfähre Discovery im Jahr 1990 die Astronomie.
So as you can see, it offers you the speed to shift gears and making sure that you can actually have that translated right on the spot. The other one was Farsi, right?
Yes, and then after that, we have a couple other suggestions too.
Okay. Remember, only the first 12 are supported. In this case, Farsi, I don't believe, is speech supported.
Oh, it's under Persian. I see it there.
There you go.
So it's accurate. I can read it, but of course I know it's not supported.
Again, only the first 12 are speech supported. But the beauty of it is you have 134. Chances are that the language they're going to be needing is going to be listed here. And that's proven to be very effective in classrooms. We wish we could have that. And we put a lot of resources into voices and languages, right, Corey? I mean, it's a lot of resources going into this type of enhancements.
Sam, we have two additional suggestions too.
Sure.
So
Now, before we do that,
yes, sorry.
for the person who requested this language, what do you think about the quality of the translation?
No, this is great. That's what I said. I mean, for adults who are able to read, I know it's not speech supported. So in terms of the quality, it's great. It's accurate.
Perfect.
Right?
And that was the point that I was trying to make sure that
Exactly.
yeah, the point the quality is just there. And what was the other one, Cami?
Hindi and Nepalese.
Any comments on the quality on this one?
I was more of an interest on my part because we have students who are representing in our small community with those needs. I wanted to make sure that they would be supported with your product.
And then the other one is Nepalese, right?
Yes. And when you're ready, Sam, we have a comment. So says, this is incredible. The translation is accurate. Hopefully one day it can be speech supported as well.
Yeah, we're working on it. So yeah, but it's one of those things that it always surprises me and it really gets my attention is I'm in Tucson, Arizona, very prominent Hispanic community. But then as you go out throughout the country, you're going to find different pockets of different communities. When I go to Minnesota, who would have thought Swahili is very, very prominent there too. So we have that language. And again, it opens a lot of doors for those students. Regardless of what your first language is, the nature of a student with ELL challenges is very prominent and it's very silent. And I totally relate to those challenges because I went through that. I'm still going through it, actually. So this is a Read the Web extension. This is a little bit more limited in terms of you don't have a side-by-side translation because it is an extension. No need to OCR. It's directly from the web. It will deploy it right in the spot, and the quality is quite good. We want to shift gears now, and we're going to go from...
Sorry, can we do one more, please?
Sure.
Hebrew.
What do you guys think about the quality in Hebrew?
We gotta thank you on that. Thank you, Sam.
All right, perfect. So again, this is a very, very swift feature that we have. It is directly from the web, I was telling you. Now we want to shift gears and we're going to visit one of our other options, within our ecosystem. For that, I'm going to go ahead and open my own account. This is our web-based platform. I have a bunch of documents that I've been working on. One thing that I really like is this feature. It might be rare, but you can find yourself in a situation that you have a document that has two languages within the same document. So we have Spanish here and we have English down here. At this point, what I'll do, I'll go ahead and request to translate. Oh, I need to select the entire section that I want to be translated. So I'll go back here and request for a translation. At this point, the entire section that I highlighted is in here, in the left, and I have the ability to translate to any of these languages. I'm going to try this, and what do you guys think? Let's do German again. Translate. So both of the sections in two different languages are now being translated into German. Since German is speech supported, I can actually have that translation read to me.
Spanisch-englischer Paralleltext, die Überraschung, Kapitel 1 Pilar und Tier 4 Pilar ist 25 Jahre alt.
I'm going to pause it. By default, once I select the actual language, it was going to give me a couple of options. In this case, we have Boss and Claudia that both read German. And that's going to change, obviously, depending on the language that I select. In this case, Danish is there's only one reader. But think of it like this. I mean, you might have a situation, you have one specific document with two languages, and you can have both of those languages translated to one specific or third language. So at this point, I'll go ahead and select another piece of content. This is from my Universal Library. I want to go to page number 13. And as I go through the content and I get stuck, this is the beauty of it. You can actually select the area that I want to translate. Again, very unique in the industry, the ability to select and extract that specific piece of content so you can create that context I was telling you about. I will translate this one to, let's do Spanish now. Translate, and boom, there you have it. In this case is Rodrigo, who's going to be reading for us. And we have Rosa, who's also a Hispanic reader. So all I need to do.
Alternativamente, el maestro de educación general podría necesitar consultar con un educador especial u otro profesional.
I want to stop it right there. But you get the idea. You have the ability to extract content and translate it right on the spot. Let me share some unique situations too. Let's say that you have a book that is in a different language. Let's say you have, and I'm going to show you this. I have 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. We're not related, I don't think. You have the capability of having content in a different language. This one is in Spanish. And let's say you're going through it and, since you are already fluent in Spanish, and all of a sudden, this will be the reverse situation of a student, but you have the capability of translating into this, and you want to translate this, let's say, to English. Translate. Boom, there you have it. So it works in both directions. Think about how you are enriching the possibilities for the students in order to go back and forth between languages, translating, having that read, and being able to get full access to the knowledge, to unblock that potential. Remember, we don't think in words, we think in ideas, we think in concepts. So that's very important to remember. So far, we have covered two of the three options that our ecosystem offers in Kurzweil 3000. The next one is going to be the standalone version. This is the installed version. It resides on my computer. Can you see my blue screen now? So at this point, I'm going to open a quick document right here. It's called Condor. I'm going through the content. All of a sudden, I get stuck. I'm not quite sure if I'm understanding the concepts. I just need to place a cursor wherever I want cursors to start taking action. If I go to online and ask this to translate, so it will snag. I don't need to select at this point. It will snag the entire paragraph. It already detected that it's in English. And I want to translate this into Spanish again. Translate. And then I can have this read to me.
¿Cómo se pusieron en peligro los cóndores?
To me, I believe it's a very, very cool feature. The fact that the intonation, the voice is very crisp, very easy to understand. It's just amazing. I wish this technology was available when I was 18 years old and was through the process of, learning history in English. That was a painful process, I remember. I don't know, Corey, is there something else I should address with other than answering any of the questions you might have?
No, I think you're good, Sam, especially if we don't have any questions. I was going to try to share my screen a moment. If you stop yours. This is not ELL specific, but it's about language. I just wanted to show, while we're on the topic of language, I just brought up a document quickly. It kind of just came to my mind, but I'm in the web version. A question I had when I first started 10 years ago was about documents that had some Spanish in it, for instance, a different language, and English. We have a tool here under Tools, and if you go here and it says Tag with a Language, you can see what I did here is I tagged this color as Spanish, and I tagged this as German. And if I wanted to add, this is more German here, we'll say, I can just go in and highlight that and save that. And what I haven't done is I haven't changed that to read German. It's as if that was German. Kurzweil will go through and read it, acknowledging, oh, that's German, and change to a German text. That would be for textbooks that have multiple languages on the same page. That takes work. So either you would explain to the student how to tag the different languages, or you could, if you have a remediation team, you can tag the languages that way. Just kind of an overlooked tool, or a tool that you would have to be pretty familiar with Kurzweil to understand it exists. And I mention that here just because we're on the topic of language, and we have different OCRs. If you're going to OCR a whole textbook in Spanish, for instance, you can go in and change the OCR to say, hey, this is Spanish coming. Something to ask your rep about if you want to dive into that more often, because perhaps it's a problem that you need to solve, and Kurzweil can help you do that.
Well, once again, thank you all for your attention and your time. Feel free to reach out to your local rep and making sure you can do a customized demo when it comes to languages or any other feature available with Kurzweil 3000.